I think this is not only obviously the biggest fight of Terence Crawford's career, but in a career that's filled with almost nothing but huge fights, this is the biggest fight of Canelo Alvarez's career.
Stronger, and I think he's going to have better endurance. Not being able to boil himself down like that, and even though it is a huge jump, I think we lose sight of the fact of how much he had to boil down and how gaunt he looked at 140.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
In anticipation of the explosive showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, Max Kellerman has delivered his final analysis of the matchup. As part of Netflix's elite broadcast team assembled for this major boxing event, Kellerman brings his sharp insights and historical perspective to what promises to be one of the sport's most significant fights.
A great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah.
Kellerman isn't holding back, calling the Canelo versus Crawford bout the most watched championship fight in nearly 50 years. He compares it to the legendary Muhammad Ali vs. Leon Spinks rematch in 1978, which drew an astonishing 90 million viewers. Kellerman emphasizes that with Netflix broadcasting, this fight isn't just another big matchup, it signifies a shift in boxing's reach and business model, promising viewership numbers far beyond traditional pay-per-view figures.
But like, where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude of the
magnitude,
fight? Yeah. I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko, those are big fights, but because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in 78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set watch, that's 20 million people. This is going to do multiples of that. So when you look at it from like a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
Promoter Dana White announced that Kellerman will return to the broadcast booth as part of Netflix's official commentary team for the highly anticipated Canelo vs. Crawford showdown on September 13, 2025. Kellerman, a veteran boxing analyst known for his work on ESPN and HBO, will join John Anik and Hall of Famer Andre Ward calling the action live from Allegiant Stadium. He expressed enthusiasm for the event, calling it the perfect storm, and highlighted that both fighters are among the very best pound-for-pound athletes of this era. Kellerman noted that Crawford is his top pound-for-pound fighter, while Canelo was widely regarded as the best until recently, an elite status shared by only about 25 to 30 fighters in history.
I want to bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight, but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm, First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh, we're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. None of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White, Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're going to see. You know who's the best pound for pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound for pound. Who was the best pound for pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound for pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have? Before Canelo, Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before, you could take the lineage back. There have only been, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're going to fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws, 62-2-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him and they produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Timothy Bradley Jr. predicts that the opening round of Canelo versus Crawford will be far from explosive. Instead, he expects a calculated chess match, with both fighters cautious early on, assessing each other's rhythm, timing, and distance. Bradley points out that Crawford has a history of pacing himself, waiting patiently to set traps, while Canelo typically uses early rounds to gather information and adapt as the fight progresses. He suggests viewers should anticipate a subdued first round, with the action intensifying in later rounds.
Feel his punching power as well. In the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. It takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. And the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. He usually takes off, just feels the power, cruises, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round's going to be a real, calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure, man. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? And let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next. During those periods right there, Crawford is one of the best at it, okay? Because he's smart, he's cerebral. Like a fighter to a fighter, we can feel when another fighter is like, oh, he's on my rhythm.
WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson is adamant that Crawford will beat Canelo and might even stop him. Stevenson emphasizes Crawford's elite skills, including his speed, ring IQ, and southpaw stance, which give him a decisive edge. He's even suggested that Crawford could cook Canelo, warning fans that the fight might turn into a one-sided performance. Stevenson first predicted this outcome in 2021 and continues to believe that Crawford's precision and adaptability make him the logical favorite in this high-stakes matchup.
I think Bud gonna Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
Yes. You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
Boxing makes it something, not us.
Like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's physically kind of big, but like height-wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so, no. I think that's possible. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud could crack too. So
Crawford's unanimous decision victory over Israel Madrimov at 154 pounds not only earned him another title but also transformed his legacy. By conquering the WBA junior middleweight belt in his debut at that weight, Crawford became a 4-division world champion. He is now the first male fighter in the 4-belt era to achieve undisputed status in 2 divisions, super lightweight and welterweight, highlighting his exceptional versatility and sustained excellence. This milestone underscores Crawford's mastery across divisions and cements his place among boxing's all-time greats, demonstrating his adaptability, durability, and dominance at the highest levels. His win over Madrimov proved he can carry his skills into heavier divisions against larger opponents, reinforcing his reputation as a versatile and dangerous fighter.
August of 2024. He spent from 2018 until August of 2024, right? 6 years at 147. Okay? And he's had 8 fights at 147. All knockouts. And 1 fight at 154, which was a unanimous decision over Israel Madrimov. So you can make a case he's actually a welterweight jumping to 168. But he did make a pit stop at 54 and became a champion. So we have to acknowledge that because that goes into his accomplishment bags. That makes him a 4-division champion. So the concern is Terence Crawford jumping up in weight. This is a weight class that Canelo Alvarez has now been in since 2020. He's been at this weight for 5 years when he made his debut against Caleb Smith. But remind you, he fought against Danny Jacobs at 160 in 2019. Then in November of 2019, he jumped to 75 and fought Sergey Kovalev, then came back down to 68. So it's doable, right? But with that said, everybody's concerned with the weight and how Terence Crawford puts on the weight. So let's explain it. As you see the new photos that Terence Crawford has leaked, Terence Crawford has lean bulked. Okay, as you see here, Terence Crawford there, right? He has lean bulked. Okay, he put the bulk on in his weight, in his legs, and in his shoulders to be able to take the punch.
Trainer Dave Caldwell emphasizes Crawford's unique style, particularly his ability to switch stances seamlessly and control distance with his footwork. Caldwell describes Crawford's leg movement as one of his most underrated tools, allowing him to create angles, frustrate opponents, and dictate the fight's rhythm. Against a powerful pressure fighter like Canelo, Caldwell believes this mobility could be crucial. If Crawford can stay agile and avoid being trapped against the ropes, he has the tools to outmaneuver Canelo and rack up points.
When the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch. He's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down. His feet have never been the fastest, but he's always had good placement of feet. His feet aren't the fastest. And he loads up. And he don't really like boxing at a pace. So I kind of look at that and I think Crawford can manage his way through the fight to win it on points. I think he can manage moments, tough moments. When Canelo detonates a big shot on him, he's going to know about it because Crawford's been out before. When Crawford gets hit, he does get hit. That's why he's exciting. But he does get hit. So that means that Canelo could land on him. I just think that Canelo will land a bomb and Crawford knows enough to tie up, to get off an angle.
For Max Kellerman, the Canelo vs. Crawford showdown isn't just another headline event, it's the biggest fight of Canelo Alvarez's career. Kellerman points out that Canelo has already built a Hall of Fame resume, winning titles across multiple weight divisions. Yet, he stresses that no victory compares to facing Crawford, an undefeated technician who embodies the ultimate test of skill and adaptability. In Kellerman's view, the outcome will either elevate Canelo to an untouchable legacy or raise questions about whether he can conquer the sport's greatest challenge.
Crawford, his composure gonna be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo.
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford.
Yeah.
He's
But in weight classes,
he's the most composed guy. Wait, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. You think it'll be, oh my God, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. That ain't happening with Crawford. Yeah. He knows exactly what he's getting himself and why. He's the one looking for it. He don't have nobody with a gun behind him saying you got to go do this. He's the one. And look, it's a tremendous challenge because Canelo's a tremendous fighter and bigger and strong, and he can obviously he can punch and he can time you and he can do all the things that have made him so special. There's no doubt about it. But we're forgetting about those things I just talked about with Crawford just because he's smaller. We're forgetting that. He'll come up with a game plan where he won't let the other guy use the size. Do you remember somebody named Manny Pacquiao when he was making his bones, the first time he hit the big stage? He got all these great fighters here. It was with a guy named Oscar De La Hoya, a hell of a fighter. And everyone said, oh, it'd be too small for him. And then I said, I gotta say, I got one right. I said, how about Manny's gonna be too fast for him? Oh, I'll tell you guys, how about he's gonna be too quick? How about he's gonna be like a couple of those mosquitoes and gnats at a barbecue and disrupt the whole damn barbecue? How about that? Yeah. Well, how about Crawford disrupts the whole damn barbecue?